G'day, Hawks fans. Welcome to the final game preview for 2022. Can you believe it? Where has the time gone? It only feels like round two about a month ago, but here we are, round 23. Hawks take on the Dogs at the familiar ground of Utah's, in which we are 4-1 against the Doggies, with that loss coming in 2008, of course, when they broke our unbeaten run to the season. Chris is alongside me. Well, I usually say as per usual, but we've had a bit of a mixed schedule in the back half of the year, mate. How are you?
We have, mate. Yeah, I'm going quite well. Yes, it has been a long season, but a short one. Like you said, it's just gone flying. Yes,
Yeah,
I've missed you, mate. It's been a while since we've done a show together, so excited.
Has been, mate. Absolutely. I think we just go to that another level when it's
it.
the two of us on. It's going to feel weird without the fan interaction, absolutely, but with the shorter and sharper formatting, we will be okay. Let's get straight into it, mate. We need to ruin a season before we exit the competition, and the Dogs are our next victims. Where are your confidence levels?
Probably not the highest, but I mean, there's got to be a little bit of fire in the belly after the loss to Richmond last week. I think the boys have got something to prove, and and maybe a few boys at the end of out of the contract that might want to just shine their shoes before the end of the season.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we're not going to finish the season worse than Essendon, so there's a positive to take away. If you're a Hawks fan, I'm a bit like you, mate. I'm not expecting us to win. I'm still not expecting us to get smacked either, but then again, I was thinking that last weekend, and look how that turned out. Let's go. We'll start with positives, I think. Let's look at the ways or something that you're looking forward to seeing throughout the game. What are you looking forward to seeing in this one in a perfect world, apart from a Hawks win, of course?
I guess John Newcomb, fantastic season. Why not just cap it off with another best on ground and probably putting that Peter Crimmon's medal around his neck, I think.
Well, where do you sit on, is this the deciding game? Do you think it's him v Sicily and this game might decide it? Do you think it's already over? Where do you stand?
No, I think it's well and truly open and probably a two-horse race between those two. With Jai's last performance, it's very close, mate. I'm leaning towards Jai.
Well, I will reveal.
Did get off a quick start.
He did. He got off to a great start, didn't he? But Jai has charged home in the last 14 weeks, you could argue, as well as anyone. I will reveal the top 10 in the Talking Hawks best and fairest as per the player rating. So I won't comment on where they stand because I've got already the players and how many stars each player's got. So I won't spoil anything for when that comes out later on next week. But that top 10 is some quality players with some quality seasons in there. I'm looking forward personally to seeing how the forward line functions. It was a pretty barren forward 50 last week. We had 54 inside 50s and we didn't kick as accurately as we should have. So I'm looking forward to the players getting to the familiar site of Tassie and feasting. We saw Cozzy kick 5 against the Crows there last year. Gunners has kicked 10 in 2 games in Tassie this year, 5 at Hobart, 5 at Launceston, of course. And I think the players I think we play with an openness at Tassie that we don't play at other grounds. Do you think that's real, or do you think it's just because we don't play there as much we notice the differences?
No, I think so. It's a different shaped ground, and I think we know it better than the opposition. So I think it is to our advantage. And I think the guys are just comfortable. It's a familiar location for them, and they have a lot of wins there. So I think they enjoy playing there.
And for the second week in a row, we've got a tall forward problem, it looks like, mate, with Jamara Ugle-Hagan finally deciding to be a good AFL footballer. Thanks for doing that as he's about to play the Hawks, Jamara. I really appreciate that. Aaron Norton's a star, as we know, and Josh Bruce is coming off an ACL, and you could argue he's due for a performance before the finals. Now, the positive for Josh Bruce is he pulled off one of the worst things we've seen on a football field in Tassie when he kicked from basically the goal line into the point post for St Kilda, I think it was, back in 2018. So a repeat of that might be nice, but Jimmy Blank, Denver, and Emerson Jecker, if all three play, have got a task on their hands, mate.
I think they do we? But also, they're not monsters, are they? They're a different type of players, more lead up, not as big and strong as a Lynch. What do we do with Sicily? Does that experiment sort of play out again in the midfield?
Oh, personally, I think he plays on Bruce, I don't think we run with the 3 tall defenders again. Of the 3, I think Denver did struggle on Lynch the most, but I think dropping a number 6 pick from 2 years ago in the final game mightn't be the best message. But you could argue that it would be more stiff to drop Blank or Jekka, but I think Sicily can move off Bruce, who's not the biggest mover and shaker, and I think Jekka goes to Norton, who Jekka was pretty good in the air. And if he plays Norton from behind, I give him a pretty good chance. And then it's between Blank and Denver, who goes to Jamara, and both of them are pretty good aerobically, so it's probably a toss-up between those. But Sicily at the contest is great, but I think he's at his damaging best and why he should be in the All-Australian side when he is rebounding and setting up attacking chains from the back half.
What about Scrimshaw? Scrimshaw good enough to play on one? Maybe send Jekka forward?
No, I think I love Scrim, and I like the job that he did on Jack Graham early. Whether that was a set sort of the defensive tag, I'm not sure, but I think Scrim's going to be at his intercepting best, and Blake Hardwick is going to put the clamp down on Cody Waitman after his fantastic year, of course. But yeah, the defense have got an uphill battle on their hands, mate.
They do, and coming from a potent midfield from the Bulldogs. And talking about those midfielders, who is our man Finn McGuinness going to go to? I know you've been pretty successful in picking the tagging option. So what's your number 1 option this week?
Yeah, I was feeling really smug when I predicted the Jordan Dawson. So Mitch asked me before you guys jumped on the Adelaide game, and I said if I was a betting man, I'd go to him. And I think since then I haven't got it right. I picked Noah Anderson. I picked Noah Anderson and I picked Dion Prestia and went 0 for 2 there. Okay. I'm going to go with he's not going to go to a midfielder. I think he's going to go and clamp down Bailey Dale, much like Sydney did with Ryan Clark, who shut down Bailey Dale up at the SCG. A bit more narrow ground. We know it's a different ground at UTAS, and the Bulldogs, in order for their forward line to function, they need to have pace on the ball entering the forward 50. And Bailey Dale's an All-Australian caliber player who won't make it this year, but he was there in 2021. And I think Sydney proved that if you can clamp him, you just put up with a midfield that's probably better than ours, but their forward line mightn't be as damaging. But I think he's the one to stop because he can break a line off halfback.
Well, you've caught me by surprise, but I like it.
Well, there is a very selfish, ego-driven part of me that hopes that Jai stands next to Bont for a lot of it and just learn, because the Bont's a star. He was the reason the Dogs beat the Giants in what was the worst game of footy for the entire season. And last game of the year, you've got nothing to lose for sitting him next to a champion and going, learn how he goes about it, play your game, and go into Christmas thinking that's what I want to be. Not necessarily a clone of the Bont. We know he's not that guy, but he is going to learn a lot from how the best midfielders go about it. And the best way he can do that is to stand next to him. But that's probably a more egotistical point of view, considering A, we love him, and B, he's a sponsored player.
I reckon we'll quickly move on to the ins and outs before we get into too much detail. Impey's going to be out this week due to early surgery for his ankle. So I think that's a good thing. Good call by the club to do that. No reason playing this last game for mine. Yeah, I agree.
Anybody else looking on the out, do you reckon?
Maybe John's wrong, or you reckon?
No, I don't see any point in dropping the kids, which is why it seems maybe hypocritical that I'm saying to drop one of the key backs. But well, what's the upside in not playing Jai Sarong this week? Unless there's a Box Hill finals eligibility thing there, which I don't have the numbers on, so I'm not going to proclaim to know. But surely he's played enough at Box Hill that he can go back. Yeah,
no, he'll be qualified.
Bulldogs can't defend, mate. All they do is rebound. So if he can hit up at the footy, good luck to him, because he's a beautiful set shot, as we know. Maybe he needs a bit more power in his kicking, but
so no, does Connor McDonald come back in from being sub?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Does Jack Saunders get a debut game before the end of the season?
No. I'm saying no. I think a lot of fans are going to disagree with me on that, but I think it's going to be Impey and Shields out. I think Shields will be the sub. So McDonald for Shields. And I think Impey comes out and Sam Butler plays that forward role that that Impey was playing throughout the year. And, of course, we keep the same back six that we've kept. So that's my prediction, as, of course, we're recording this before we know.
The only other big option who's been in good form, Dan Howe. I think he's a chance. Coming off 29 touches, has had a really good month.
I think a chance might be a farewell game for him if he's one to explore in the off-season, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yes, true. We'll save those ones for later in the year. As we know, it could well be Liam Shields' last, but we haven't been told anything by the club, so we're just
no inside info there at all. Yeah. Unless we're correct, in which case we're geniuses. That's the deal, mate. You know this. You know this very well.
We think we do know Big Boy McAvoy's last game, and let's hope he has a blinder because he's had a fantastic career and he's definitely done the brown and gold proud.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Talking Hawks writing crew. So myself, Tim Newman, Matthew Unan, geez, that rhyming slang nearly got me in trouble, and Jake Smith put together a bit of a thank you through Big Boy McAvoy. So, of course, if you love the big fella, talkinghawks.com, it's the first article you see when you open up the website. Go check that out. I think it was a fantastic letter of love to a fantastic Hawthorn servant. But believe it or not, mate, that's where my next concern is going to come in terms of the ruck stock. Now, Tim English with Stephen Martin in the side has been horrific. I do not think that combination works at all. The problem that we've got is we don't have anyone tall and athletic enough to go with English if he does get around the ground. And for mine, that is a huge concern.
Yeah. What about Nash, Connor Nash, role for him potentially?
That could definitely work following him around. He's been playing a bit on the wing, Connor, which is good. I like the fact that we put him in at centre bounce, follow the footy, and then he's able to win his own a little bit. So that's been pretty encouraging. But in terms of size and strength, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. It's weird not going to the fans for their tips, but that's why we've got the comment section so they can let us know below. Apart from Jai, mate, who are you suspecting to finish off the year well? I've got a particular name in mind. Does one come to mind that you think maybe we haven't spoken about yet that could go off in this one?
Ooh, no one that's really coming to mind for me. I know just the old boys. I don't think you're talking about an old boy. Bruce D. Gunner's been in reasonable form this season. I think they'll both finish well. They love the ground. No, you better just tell me who's on your mind because I know you've got someone.
Yeah, I think the biggest predictor of future behaviour is past behaviour. Josh Ward's last 5 weeks have been outstanding. And he doesn't have the greatest record at Tassie. I think this will be his 3rd game in Tassie. He hasn't had the fantastic numbers that he's had at the G and Marvel and these places. So I think he's going to, 3rd time at the ground, I think he's going to go off and do really well. Fingers crossed he does, of course. Our star number 7 pick. And, geez, mate, this draft class is looking all right. The 4 boys that have played this year look like they could be mainstays.
Yes. No, definitely. And even Ramsden's been looking good down at Box Hill. So there's plenty more coming from down below. Is it too early to switch over the talk to Box Hill, mate?
I was literally about to get there right now, mate. So it's going to be 4th v 5th to finish off the VFL season for the Hawks. That's up against Sydney's reserves, who have had some absolutely, I'm talking ridiculous wins this year in terms of margins. And then once in a while, they'll just be completely off their game and drop one they should win. So this is definitely a dangerous opponent. Box Hill are in some good form, though. Their last fortnight especially been fantastic.
Yeah, our AFL injury list isn't doing Box Hill any favours, but they're a pretty strong team. And I did a little bit of math before the game, and it looks like about a 15-point win will give us percentage to leapfrog them and finish in 4th. So be watching that one closely.
Yeah, definitely will. 12:35 p.m. on Saturday.
If we do manage to lose, we are more than likely finish. We can finish 5th, 6th, or 7th, and very, very unlikely finish 8th if Richmond have an absolute day out against Frankston and win by 100, and we have a decent little loss.
Jeepers. No, we're not putting up with this 8th finish at Box Hill for sure.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, and then we're going to hit finals. And speaking of things coming up, of course, after the men's finish, mate, is the debutante of the ladies, 7:10 p.m. on Saturday against the Bombers. All that's very exciting, but it's been moved to Marvel Stadium. Beck Goddard brought it to the attention of a lot of AFL people when she was interviewed by Campbell Brown at Marvel Stadium when we played the Crows. The game's been moved to Marvel, and we are going to pack it to the rafters because I know the practice match didn't go our way, but we need to beat Essendon. It's as simple as that.
I'll tell you what, it took them long enough to make the call and move it.
Yeah, didn't it? Yeah,
I think they sold it out pretty quickly, and I think that was enough of a statement to say, hang on, let's change venues here. Yeah, I'll be definitely more inclined to make the effort to make it there, being at that venue. So good luck to the girls, and hopefully they can, like you said, learn a little bit from the game against Richmond, because I watched a little bit of that, and get a bit more momentum at the start of the season. Be great.
Absolutely. Fresh into the competition, of course, and we're working hard to try and sponsor one of the AFLW girls. So hopefully the Hawks fans are on board there. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for Box Hill, of course. And if you guys do want to jump on the player sponsorship, you still can, especially when it comes to the AFLW, talkinghawks.com. Just on the right-hand side of the homepage, you'll see a photo of Denver, CJ, and Jai with sponsor a player on there. Click on that. All the information's there. If I can figure out how to do it, I know you guys can. You are all very tech savvy and dazzling, despite the young looks and no, not that tech savvy at all. We'll go back to the Dogs game just quickly, mate, and then I've got one question to ask you, and then we can let the good people go. So how worried are you about the midfield matchup? Because they are a team that do win the game out of the middle of the ground, because their weakness is definitely the arcs. I'm not saying that we're going to beat them out of the middle, but how do we negate them, do you think?
I really don't know. A three-way tag, just tag them. I don't know.
Just make it a scrap.
I am fairly concerned about that. We've been smacked all year long in the midfield, and there's no reason to say the Bulldogs won't do it again. Like you said, probably one of the best midfield lineups in the comp. So I'm extremely scared. How do you negate it? I really don't know. Just go and get some DNA off Finn McGuinness and
send 3 of him out there. That'd be handy, wouldn't it? Yeah, I agree. I think of the midfielders, if he's going to tag one, it's going to be Libber.
Yep.
Because Libber is your get the ball, bottom of the pack, feed it out and help the midfield. So I think if you're going to stop it at the source. So I don't really see a point in him tagging McRae if Libber is going to be delivering the ball out and just giving it to another midfielder. So that's where I kind of stand on the midfield tag. And it wouldn't be right, mate, I don't think, considering he's in the news, but Alistair Clarkson, the former great man of the Hawks, I'm loving the debate of Hawthorn fans. It's not we don't want Clarko to coach again. It's we can't let him coach Essendon. Are you on this bandwagon, or are you a case of he's not our coach, it's not our problem? Where do you stand?
I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes. What would you do in his shoes, mate? If he's getting offered that much money to coach, it's pretty silly to ignore. And you want to pick a team that's actually going to be successful, or that you think you can turn into a successful team. So
are they?
I can understand why people wouldn't want him to coach Essendon, obviously with our history. But I think that's probably almost just spur him on even more to do it.
I think Essendon's got a better list, but North's got a better spine. Mackay, Luke Davies, Uniac, Jason Horne-Francis, and Larkey, I think, match up a hell of a lot better than the likes of Zach Reed. And I know Peter Wright's had a good year, but Essendon's spine depth is horrific. But
wouldn't even surprise me if Clarko's just holding out just to try and get a few more zeros on his paycheck.
Well, yeah, I mean, is there going to be a massive difference for Clarko between, say, a 1.1 and a 1.4, for example? I mean, the money's fantastic, but he's going to want a team. Todd Viney's probably going to join him as well. But we wish Clarko all the best until we play him in a game. And just imagine, can you imagine if we played him in a final?
That'd be intense.
Because whatever list he takes on, unless it's Port, and I don't think he's going to go to Port, we're going to be around the same spot list-wise, where both teams, if it's North, they're probably going to be a year or two behind us. But we're going to be entering finals, if the trajectories are where we think they are, at around the same time. If we finish, say, 6th and his club finish 7th, if it's Hawthorn Essendon, elimination final, MCG, Clarko versus Sam Mitchell, the AFL world might actually implode.
Yeah, you've had a lot of time to think about this, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, I have. And it makes me very anxious, to be honest. So let's ease past all that, mate. Let's get to the tips. The best on ground. Hawthorn fans, comment below. We know we couldn't get you involved tonight, which was really unfortunate. We do apologise for that. But we want your tips. We want your BOGs. Where Clarko's coaching next. Who does Finn tag? All of that. Get that in there and make sure you share the video and drop us a like as well. Who wins, mate? How much? And who is Hawthorn's best on the day?
Yep. All right. I did actually think about this before the game for once. Before I showed I've got Dogs by, I said 22, so about 4 goals. Unfortunately, but that's just what my head says. I guess the main benefit of that is potentially knocking Carlton out of finals. Does that make you feel a little bit better about losing?
Yeah, but that means we have to barrack for Collingwood. So,
I can handle that, I think.
It's like asking which arm we want cut off. I mean, we've got a preferred one, but I still don't want my left arm cut off either. So, goodness me. I think we keep it close. Dogs by 8. I can't go past Jai for BOG. He's going to be around the ball a lot and around that Dogs midfield. And yeah, for the record, I think Collingwood beat Carlton and Carlton miss out on the 8. So to the 80s rivals, sucked in. Beautiful, mate. Love it. Short, sharp, succinct. We love it here at Talking Hawks. Thanks for joining us, mate. Hawks fans, thank you for tuning in. Let us know who you think is going to win and why. Fingers crossed you can catch us for the review. And don't worry, we are not going to stop once the season ends. We've got trade, we've got draft content, AFLW content. The written stuff is still happening. If you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, please do so. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, the race to 1,000 is on. We want to get there by the end of the calendar year. We need your help. Chris, it's been a pleasure. Hope the Hawks finish the year off well. And until the review, we'll see everyone later.
Awesome, mate. Cheers. Go Hawks.
Thanks, mate. Go Hawks.